So, part 3. How do I turn an adjective into its comparative and superlative forms? Now, this is where we get a little bit more complicated. But, lucky for you guys, we're going to only do the easiest way of doing it for now. Let's look at comparative. So, there is one main way to make an adjective into its comparative form. Now, I'm not going to use all that space, so let's take that up a little bit. We're going to make a T-chart here. I'm going to give you the adjective and then the comparative form. Okay, so as a reminder, comparative is comparing two things. Only two. Okay, so what about, let's start with brave. If I'm looking at two people and we're having to compare them, say who is braver? Our comparative form of it is braver. So if I compared my dog and my cat, Briar and Luca, and I said Briar is braver than Luca. Not actually true, but oh well. Briar is braver than Luca. I would use an ER at the end to show that he is braver. He is more brave than Luca. Okay? Let's do one more. What about big? Let's stay with our B's. Briar is bigger than Luca. Now, I want you to notice what I did here. At the end of the word big, we have a consonant, G. Now, to make it into its comparative form, we're going to add another G before we do our ER. So, these are the most common two ways you're going to see this happen. You're going to either add ER to the end. If there's already an E, you just add the R. Or you're going to add another consonant to the end. It has to be the same one. And then add ER. There is one more commonly used way. Let's go with slime. Now, usually slime for you guys is slimy. Slimy. Something is slimy. It's really, you guys know how slime feels. Slimy is when it feels slick and not dry. It feels wet and kind of gooey. If you have two different kinds of slime and one has more liquid in it, it's going to feel slime-er. You're going to take off your Y and add I-E-R. Okay? So, if your word ends in a Y, you take off the Y and add I-E-R. Now, these are the most common. Sometimes you'll add more or more for comparative. But for right now, we're only going to focus on words that don't need an extra word added to them. Okay? So, to sum up comparative, you basically add either ER or you add a consonant like G, D, B, mostly going to be one of those, either of those. Then ER or add IER. Okay? So, I'm going to pause this for a second so I can erase it, and we're going to do the superlative form. Okay. Okay, so we looked at comparative. Now let's look at superlative. Reminder, superlative is looking at a word that is comparing 3 or more things. Super. It is the most. Okay? 3 or more. Okay? So on our adjective, we're going to do the same thing. The adjective and its superlative form. And let's go with the same words we used last time. So our first one was brave. So, if I'm looking at 2 things, it would be braver. But if I'm looking at all 3 of us, Briar, Luca, and me, I would have to say that Luca is the bravest. Now, superlative, for the most part, is going to come in the form of 2 words. You may not always see that on here, on your paper, but when you use it in a sentence, you're going to say the bravest. Okay? But on here, let's look at it this way. Bravest. Okay? He is bravest. Of the three of us, Luca is the bravest. He is the most. Okay? Now, big. Again, I'm going to take the word big and I'm going to add another G and then EST. Out of the 3 of us, I am the biggest. If I took Luca, Briar, and me, put us in a line, I would be the biggest. Luca would be the smallest. Okay? And can't remember which one did we use? Slime. Okay? Something is slimy. If you have 3 things of slime, the one that has that is the most would be the slimiest. Did you notice I took our Y and I took it off and I traded it out with an I. Okay? Slimiest. So, for comparative, we have ER. For superlative, we have EST. Okay? For comparative, we have ER. Superlative, has EST. Now, this is not as much fun as teaching it to you guys in person. If we were in person, I would have like you guys line up and we would figure out who's the tallest, who's the shortest, who has the longest hair, who has the shortest hair. But in this, maybe we'll do some videos with it later. Some Zoom videos with it later. But in the meantime, comparative is ER. Superlative is EST added on to the end of it. If you are going to be comparing two things, you're going to use ER at the end of the adjective to show which one is the smaller or the bigger. If you're going to be comparing three or more things, you are going to use EST to show which one is the biggest. Which one, well, we don't have one that's the smallest because these are the same size. But which one is the smallest? Okay? I would like to stop it here. Maybe I'll try making a better one of these later, but this one will work for now. And as always, I miss you guys and I love you.